Today I'm at Amadoreo Reservoir. It's only about a 25-minute drive from home, so it lets me sort of stay fairly close to home. At the moment I'm standing out on top of the dam, looking out that way, which is kind of over to the west, which is very cloudy and probably means we're not going to get much in the way of a sunset. Unfortunately, where it is clearing is out that way, which is the wrong direction, but you never know, we might be lucky. And in the meantime, I'm going to see what I can find just walking around, maybe some different type of stuff that I can shoot in the meantime. We've got about two and a half hours, nearly 3 hours actually until sunset, so plenty of time to play around with some shots and then see if anything happens in the golden hour. I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you do and you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. So a little bit of a walk so far, just basically down across the dam through the tunnel and out to here. And as I said in the introduction, we've got pretty much clear skies out that way. That's the coast over that way, and very, very much cloudy skies over that way, socked in. I'm not really sure what I'm going to find to shoot here today, but I've kind of got it in my head to maybe play around with some long exposure stuff if I can find the right scene. Might try and get down near to the water on some trails that I found a little while ago when I was here, if I can find them again, and we'll just see. Like I said, it's close to home, and I wasn't convinced the conditions were going to be great today, so I decided not to venture too far afield. But I wanted to get out, and so here I am. Sometimes you just catch something out the corner of your eye, and I was glancing over that way and I could see the section of the dam with the, I guess it's the sluice gates open, and they're reflecting in the water of the reservoir. They've got that green panelling across, which I always think actually is quite a nice colour. And if you look through there, you can actually see the sea beyond, which is quite interesting. So I'm shooting this long lens, zoomed right in, filling the frame up with the gates and the reflection. I'm actually going to try two versions of this. I'm going to do a short exposure, and then what I think I'm going to do is try a long exposure. So I'm going to put on a 10-stop filter just to see if it helps a bit with the reflections. That's my composition. So start off with, as I said, a 60th of a second will be too much, so we'll go for maybe 1/125th of a second. It's because the light has changed, and actually what's happened is the reflections have moved as well, so I'm going to need to recompose this slightly. Okay, so recompose that slightly just to bring the reflections into the bottom of the image. 1/125th of a second. Take the shot. That's okay, nothing fantastic, but it's okay. And then what I'm going to do is stick on a 10-stop filter and change the aperture and try for a longer exposure. 10 stop filter in. 10 stop filter in, I'm going to go to f16. And let's go for, let's try about 15, let's try 15 seconds. Got to be honest, I'm not entirely sure that's making much of a difference to the image. Maybe a little bit. Let's go back and have a look at the previous one. Yeah, a little tiny bit maybe. I'm not sure which is best. Okay, it's an image. We'll see if it comes out any good. So one of the challenges with this reservoir is the accessible parts of the shoreline are few and far between. So you can sort of make your way along a small section, maybe 30 or 40 or 50 meters, but then to get to the next bit, the only way to do it is to climb up a hill, fight your way through some woodland and trees and other bushes and plants, and then come back down again. So you can end up walking 400 or 500 meters and only get sort of 30 or 40 meters further along the shoreline, and it can mean a lot of walking for very little ground covered. What I ended up doing was carrying on up one of those hills on the shoreline past an old ruined building, which I suspect was probably probably built as a villa for somebody to live in. I suspect it's one of the many that was constructed and never finished, and now is just slowly falling into rubble. It would have had some quite nice views out over the reservoir, and I did wonder if there might be an image to be had from there, but no, don't think so. So now I'm walking back along, if you like, the access road back to the dam, and I'm going to see what I can find, see if there is an image here for sunset, if sunset is anything worth photographing. Let's see. Okay, I think I found something here which is quite a nice little abstract thing. We've got some cloud reflections in the water, and I've been looking around at where these little twigs are sticking out, looking for a nice clean patch. And I think I found one. There's a little cluster of twigs and then one slightly taller one next to it, and they're all reflected in the water. And I'm going to shoot this zoomed all the way in so that they're sort of reasonably large in the frame, but lots of space around the outside. So you can see the twigs in there, one here, the big one over here, and the group there. So I'm going to shoot this at 1/40th of a second at f11, keep it nice and bright, just to check my focus. Okay, focus peaking says it's all good, but nevertheless I am going to zoom in. Make sure that's as sharp as it can be. The question is, could I get away with a long exposure and would it add anything to it? 10 stop ND filter on, and I think that will let me get a minute exposure. So I've gone to bulb mode, and I've put on the touch shutter on the screen, and we'll see what happens. I think that looks kind of cool. Yeah, I think that looks kind of interesting actually. Very minimalist, but I like it. Well, we got some quite nice streaky cloud and cloud patterns reflected in the water. So this has got to be worth a shot. At the moment, I'm just putting the center line of the reflections right the way across the middle of the scene, with those sort of clouds streaking out on either side. Trying an experiment that I've not tried with these filters before. I've stacked the 10 stop filter with a variable ND filter. Okay, quick test shot at ISO 6400 at 4 seconds looks good. So I'm going to go for a 4-minute exposure at ISO 100. Let's get that going. Getting a bit chilly now. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a like, share it on social media, leave me a comment. If you're new here and you've enjoyed this, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. And as always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, so thank you very much. And until the next video, bye.